Everyone, so these are a few of Frostie's babies. This is Dosh, she's a 3-year-old who's by Capstan Liberator, and this is Freddie, who's also by Capstan Liberator, so they're full siblings. But he's only, I think he's about 4.5 months old now. So Dosh, we were not disappointed with her, that's the wrong word, but she was quite a small foal, but obviously she's bigger than Frostie now, so hopefully she'll grow another inch or so. And last year as a 2-year-old, we just got tack on her, had a long range, I sat on her. Purely because I come from a racing background where you break them as yearlings, I quite like to get on top of them sort of really early on, because then basically they can't have an opinion, and you can sort of nip any bad habits in the bud before they get big and get a bit sort of opinionated. But she was an absolute sweetheart to do. She was really straightforward and genuine. She was quite weak as a 2-year-old, which she's even now she looks a bit long and a bit sway back. But I have heard that that's a real trait in the Capstan Liberators, is that they're not really mature until they're 6. So, but she moves really well, and we even trotted her through water and over a little ditch, which I know at 2 you might sort of raise your eyebrows a bit. But it was just to see what she does, you know. And she was big smiley face and wanted to do it, and she moves incredibly well. So that's, you know, that's all a bonus. So she's a sweetheart. And then Freddie's about to be a gelding. We're going to geld him in the next couple of weeks while he's still on his mum, so because he'll be pulled down slightly once he has them out, and then his mum can sort of look after him a bit and build him up again. We're really cutting him because he was really naughty. Like, his first couple of months he was trying to mount us and bite us and kick us, so we had to be quite forceful with him, and just, you know, unless you've got the right facilities for a stallion, it just makes life difficult. So we're going to have his balls out, bless him. And then basically he's a much bigger, stronger stamp than she was. Also, she was a first foal, so that can make a difference. So basically Freddie he'll be gelded, and then he'll run out with the next foal, which we'll show you in a minute, which will obviously be a couple of months younger. But by the time they're sort of 6 months old, 8 months old, they should hopefully sort of wing along together nicely. We're going to hopefully do, when I'm back from Lamoulan, another month with Dosh. Just again, it's tack on again. Just little bits, quite gentle, but just keeping her on side and making her realise that she's not just a horse and a herd animal. She actually has to play our game as well. And then basically they'll all go back out together, and that will be good for this one, because it will do him good to be beaten up by some older women, you know, put him back in his spot. But he's lovely. I'm quite excited about him. He hopefully will be very smart. And as you can see, he's chestnut, which is really odd. When he was born, he was chestnut, and we were waiting for him to go grey, and he never did. And then we found out that Capstan Liberator's dam is chestnut, Frostie's dam is chestnut, so it was sort of 1 in 200,000 chance of him being chestnut, and he was, which is great for us, less cleaning. So yeah, these are Frostie's sort of 2 first babies, so to speak, and like I said, full brother and sister. Okay, I'm just going to run it through quickly why obviously this is not Frostie. Basically what we do is do embryo transfer, which is where Frostie goes in, she gets AI, so and then they take her egg out after, I think it's about 10 days, once it's sort of fertilised and safe, and then put it into the surrogate mare. And this poor mare has to do all the donkey work, which is get fat, you know, give birth, look after them. So it just means that horses like Frostie can carry on their career but still breed from them. Frostie was really difficult to get in foal. She was very particular about her men, she was quite fussy. So hence why we've got 2 Capstan Liberators and 1 Jaguar male. We tried Mule Law and such like stallions, but she just didn't fancy them. So yeah, so this is why it's not Frostie. This is Tigger. He's obviously out of Frostie again, but by Jaguar male, so that's quite a nice one. Bay colt, obviously. We don't think he's going to go grey either. It's very rare that if they go grey that they're born bay. They're normally born chestnut. So, but he a couple of days, no, the day after he was born, Tigger, come on. Sorry. He had to go into the vet because basically he wasn't, whatever, I'm really dense here people, but basically whatever lines of stomach which he should have passed as soon as he was born, he didn't. So basically had a bit of an impaction, so it was a bit colicky. So he had to go in and have that sorted out, that was all done. And then he had a leaking umbilicus, under here, you can have a little look, that had to be operated on. Come closer, kid, you're okay. And he won't. You can just see right under there where the umbilical cord would be. they had to operate on that to sort that out, but that was a sort of quite a minor operation. So Tigger's been very expensive so far, but he's quite a small foal. I think he's quite small anyway. He's much smaller than what Freddie was, but he's quite feisty, you know, for a foal that within 24 hours of being born was in at the vets, having people handle him, and he's quite opinionated, not scared. You can see he's just a bit like, I don't want to be here, which is quite nice, but I would suspect he'll be quite small as well. It's very hard at this stage because they look so like Frostie. Don't bite me, wait. You know, at this stage it's really hard because he's obviously changed loads as he grows. But you know, really nice, and you know, have a baby of Jaguar male is quite impressive. We're still a little bit undecided whether to geld him or not because again, like I said with Freddie, don't bite me. If you've not got the facilities for a colt, it's very difficult. But obviously, being by Jaguar male and out of her, he'd be very attractive as a stallion to keep entire. But I do feel a bit. If you keep them entire, you kind of sacrifice their career a bit because there are very few stallions that event to top level because they're very careful of their undercarriage, you know, worried about sort of hurting their private parts rather than Freddie. I mean Tigger, naughty boy. So we'll just see. You know, we've got a lot of time to decide what to do, and also if he is going to be tiny. You know, he might sort of not be that, people might not be that keen to use him. But like I said, God, we've got loads of time to think about that. And but yeah, he can be, I like him, you know, he's got a real, no, you're going to stand here now. And you can see, I'm being quite forceful because I don't want him to think he can take the piss. But he is, you know, we quite like that he's got this streak in him and there's he's a real little character, aren't you? Aren't you? You're a little character. Go on then. It's quite like Frostie.